In previous videos, we went over how Saudi Arabian royals spend on exorbitant possessions that they don't mind paying over the odds. Today, we're going to talk about the expenses of transporting the Saudi Arabian king. And that is another luxurious video. Welcome to Luxury Wire. Please click the bell icon and join our channel so you never miss any upcoming videos. So much for that, let's get cracking. Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, the King of Saudi Arabia, travels more than anyone else on earth. Whatever size you would imagine, I assure you that it is larger only to put things in their appropriate perspective. Let's talk about the amount of money he spends on traveling alone. The king's overall wealth is over $20 billion, so it's not like he needs to worry about paying for travel expenses as most people do. A trip abroad will often cost you $3,000 or more, but when the Saudi Arabian king went out on an all-inclusive trip to Morocco, he completely destroyed this budget. It was rumored to be the most expensive trip in recent memory. His trip cost perhaps in the neighborhood of $100 million. Actually, you'll be a little shocked that his budget is that modest until you find out about his typical travel schedule. How many companions does the king take on his journeys? A modest staff of 20 people? Try 1,500 people instead. There are 25 princes, 800 delegates, and 10 ministers in this group. Because of the size of the group, they must move in waves rather than all at once. For instance, it took the entire group of travelers weeks or 3 full weeks to go to Indonesia. There were 36 different flights involved. When he's not even staying there, these hotels are rented out. He has essentially rented out full 5-star hotels for his employees. That is advanced. You just have a feeling that the person in charge of everything has the most amazing spreadsheet the world has ever seen. It's clear that the Saudi Arabian king doesn't exactly stay at a Best Western when it comes to accommodations. No, to accommodate them all, he and his crew rent out the entirety of numerous 5-star hotels. He has reserved the full Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons for his trip to Russia with his entourage. Instead of just a few rolling suitcases skidding through an airport, it's wiser to consider how much luggage he brings with him in terms of weight in tons. A typical person is permitted about 50 pounds per bag. Every flight carries more than 500 tons for the king. Even trying to imagine that amount of money is difficult. Allow me to simplify things for you. For instance, a Sherman tank weighs about 33 tons. That indicates that the monarch carries enough luggage to fill 15 Sherman tanks. Give or take a tank, you know. The monarch always travels in grandeur by taking his opulent vehicle, much like any of the wealthiest individuals on the planet. That includes 2 Mercedes-Benz S600s for him. Together with any enhancements he gives them, each of them costs $200,000 total. The common ones, such as bulletproofing, are undoubtedly present. Knowing him, he also has a tiny golden conveyor belt that assists him in exiting the vehicle. You'll observe that a man avoids taking steps whenever he can. Even though he travels with a sizable crew, he also has a sizable staff waiting for him when he arrives. It was said that almost 600 individuals were brought in to assist the monarch and his entourage when they visited Jakarta. Since highways must be closed, structures must be protected, and dangers must be evaluated, there must be a significant degree of security. His security needs to be top-notch because he has one of the most recognizable names in the world. 10,000 officers were dispatched to ensure his safety during the journey. The king's use of an electric elevator while traveling is possibly his biggest flex. Yes, an elevator. You heard that right. It sounds like he'll install it somewhere so he won't have to climb any steps. I forewarned you. For instance, he once physically closed down a French beach so that a crew of laborers could put up his massive private elevator. He didn't have to climb a single stair to get to or from the beach because of this. Then everything needs to be disassembled and prepared for travel after he's through enjoying his beach time. There isn't a single rapper on the planet who possesses this level of skill. It should come as no surprise that the king won't descend from his jet using those steep stairs after learning about his elevator. His escalator is considerably more extravagant. That's because it's made of solid gold. Of course, travel mishaps can happen to anyone, including the king. He was on a 4-day trip to Russia when the plane's engine broke down on the runway. Due to a malfunctioning escalator, the monarch was forced down the stairs on his own 2 legs, which appears to be his least favorite thing in the entire world. Someone was undoubtedly let go, and as a result of that, you wouldn't think the monarch would be so kind given how much trouble he puts people through wherever he goes. In all, it doesn't seem like a guy with his own golden escalator would be the most considerate tipper, does it? He's reportedly recognized for the complete opposite. According to employees who have worked for the monarch, the gifts he gave them all included visits to Mecca so they could complete their pilgrimages. That's a tough one to beat. Some people spent upwards of $10,000 on their pilgrimages to the holy city. We already know that when he arrives at his destination, he will have an entourage, employees, and vehicles waiting for him. But even that pales in comparison to his luxurious yacht traveling the entire distance to meet him at the airport. That's right, his 457-foot, $280 million masterwork yacht Al Salama. It is also expensive to operate. It is said that $28 million are spent on maintaining it each year. Therefore, it is absurd that the king sends the yacht on voyages even if he is not a passenger. He once ordered their yacht to take off when he was organizing a trip to the Maldives so that it would be there when his aircraft arrived. Even stranger is the fact that the king decided against making the journey. So for basically nothing, this astronomically expensive yacht traveled across the ocean. That was possibly the most costly trip that never happened. We are aware of the types of vehicles he uses for his overseas travel, but what about his support staff? They don't all ride quite as well as he does, though. However, they are not compelled to own or hire a vehicle. All of the members of the Saudi Arabian king's entourage are chauffeured about in limousines. That ultimately results in a huge amount of premium vehicles being flown in. A total of 500 limos were brought for his trip to Tokyo. How are all of these cars transported to their destinations? Clearly, there are different planes just for all of the vehicles. According to reports, military cargo aircraft bring the limos in. Then they return by air and pick up the cars to return home. These vehicles have the best aerodynamics of any vehicle on the planet, I wager. They might even have a set of golden escalators too. I actually wouldn't be shocked by this point. Every member of the Saudi royal family receives a sizable monthly allowance. The grandkids even get $27,000. They therefore commute to preschool in a similar style. What do you think about this kind of lifestyle? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you're amazed by this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that notification bell for more. Thank you for sticking around until the end, and we'll see you on our next one.